Hello everyone, welcome to my channel DG Learning. I am Ranjita and I am giving you the notes of B.ed Paper 3, that is Learning and Teaching, Unit 5, Teaching as a Profession. As you all know that Paper 3 Learning and Teaching के हमने Unit 1, 2, 3, 4 मैं already आपको दे चुकी हूँ. आप मेरे चैनल पे जाके वीडियोस देख सकते हो, वहाँ पे सारे के नोट्स हैं. आज मैं आपको Unit 5 की नोट्स देने जा रही हूँ, ठीक है. Yes, one more thing, मैंने ऐसे सुना है that सेमेस्टर 2 के एग्जाम्स नहीं होंगे यहाँ झारखंड में, दैट इज कोल्हान यूनिवर्सिटी में. अभी इंटर्नशिप चल रहा है. आफ्टर दिस सेमेस्टर 3 के एग्जाम्स होंगे एंड देन सेमेस्टर 4. सो आई वाज थिंकिंग कि बिफोर कंप्लीटिंग सेमेस्टर 2 मैं सेमेस्टर 4 में जंप करने वाली हूँ. मैं आपको नेक्स्ट वीडियो में सेमेस्टर 4 के सारे नोट्स अवेलेबल करवा दूंगी. पहले मैं सेमेस्टर 4 कंप्लीट कर रही हूँ, उसके बाद फिर 2 और 3 मैं धीरे धीरे आपको कंप्लीट करवा ही दूंगी. ओके, सो पहले 4 पे भी ध्यान थोड़ा ज़्यादा दे देते हैं. कमेंट्स भी आ रहे हैं कि मैम 4 के अपलोड कीजिए, तो पहले 4 पे थोड़ा ध्यान दे देते हैं, ठीक है. नाउ कम्स टू दिस, दैट इज यूनिट 5, टीचिंग एज अ प्रोफेशन. सो आवर फर्स्ट टॉपिक इज द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ टीचिंग प्रोफेशन. Modern society is full of professionals like doctors, engineers, etc. They are contributing in the society in the specialized areas, but it is the teaching profession which helps an individual to grow fully in his mind, body, soul, intellectual, emotional, and with moral values. Therefore, teaching has been accepted as the noblest profession. Points are the potential. It provides the potential to transform life. इसी में इतने potential है. It gives you the chance to be continuously creative. It is a noble profession. It is a chance to truly lead the country and the world in the 21st century. They are nation builders and strengthens every profession. Obviously, this is the main point. Means teaching ही एक ऐसा profession है which leads the other profession. We used to say ना, आपने भी ये सुना होगा. So what is that? Actually, अगर टीचर्स नहीं होंगी तो स्कूल में छोटे बच्चों के माइंड्स वगैरह कैसे डेवलप होंगे? उनको क्या पता हो कि गोल क्या होता है, एम क्या होता है, उन्हें कहाँ तक पहुंचना है, क्या करना है, कैसे करना है, ठीक है. Teachers have the capacity to shape the minds and future of many, and they do so at all kinds of critical life stages. At kindergarten, they introduce young minds to the world of learning and introduce its basic fundamentals. At high school, they have the challenge for instilling passion for academics to teens whose minds are focused on developmental issues. College, they teach them nuts and bolts of highly technical content areas. Okay, so this was the importance of teaching profession. Now comes to the characteristics of a teaching profession. First point is, it essentially involves an intellectual operation. It tends towards self-organization. It basically performs a social service. It has a high degree of autonomy, that is self-rule, and it is based upon a systematic body of knowledge. So these are the characteristics of a teaching profession. Next is characteristics of an effective teacher. What are the characteristics of an effective teacher? First is love their students. One of the characteristics of an effective teacher is that these teachers feel privileged and honored to be a part of their students' life. They relate to their students by finding out what they are interested in and they're learning more about those interests. Second point is listen to students. Listening to students goes a long way in building trust and mutual respect. The teachers that do listen receive valuable insight into the lives of the students. Students are more likely to ask for additional support when struggling with reading or other subjects, if they are in an environment where they know their teacher will take them seriously. Okay. Make time for each student. Teachers that make time for each student individually can see which students need a challenge in their reading, writing, and which ones are struggling and could use some additional support. These teachers aren't necessarily better at time management. However, they know when to ask for help to make time for this critical best practice. Next is learn something new every day. Teachers that strive to learn something new every day, whether it be through reading good books, Staying on top of local issues or simply listening to a friend will inspire the students to be a lifelong learners as well. आपने तो सुना ही होगा that teachers should be a good learner and are a learner forever. है ना? लर्नर्स बेस्ट लर्नर्स होती है और हमेशा ही, बिकॉज टीचर का लाइफ ही वो होता है कि मतलब वो हमेशा सिर्फ सीखती रहती है, हर चीज से वो सीखते हैं. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इज फिल द क्लासरूम विथ पॉजिटिविटी. इट्स incredible how far a smile and a kind word can go towards lifting the mood of the entire classroom. Another quality of an effective teacher is that they are consistently upbeat, which enables their students to feel secure in their learning environment. As educators, we know that students will inevitably push our buttons from time to time, and we admire teachers who choose to use humor instead of allowing situations like that to sour their moods. Okay. Next, patiently handle challenging situations. There is no substitute for kindness. Teachers are under a lot of stress and must work with parents. Just a minute, it will be patient. Sorry, it will be parents only. Teachers are under a lot of stress and must work with parents, districts, and policies. With so many different opinions going into the education system, it's easy to get flustered when faced with harsh criticism. Teachers that emphasize with concerns can then use the criticism as an opportunity to become even more effective educators. Next point, constantly look for ways to become better. The most effective teachers didn't become that way overnight. They constantly look for ways to improve their craft and aren't afraid to try new things, even if they don't seem to work the first round. These teachers are determined to succeed and work hard for the results they ultimately achieve. Next point, collaborate with other teachers. Being a team player allows teachers to be even more productive. Looking out for one another and brainstorming together is not only a great way to create meaningful friendship, but it also helps uncover creative solutions for teachers. In addition, exchanging ideas with other educators can provide valuable insights to implement in the classroom. Develop relationships with parents. Getting everyone aboard in a child's education is an essential factor determining how motivated the child will be throughout their entire academic career and reading development. Teachers who build open communication with parents will achieve their results in their students' best interest. Maintain classroom organization. Teachers love an organized classroom and lesson plans. They admire each other for finding new ways to be even more efficient as educators. Teachers that appear to have it together often have created an environment of respect for classroom organization as well as determination for staying on task. Next is, the need for teacher education is felt due to the following reason. It is common knowledge that the academic and professional standards of teachers constitute a critical component of the essential learning conditions for achieving the educational goals of a nation. Focus of teachers' preparation had to shift from training to education if it had to make a positive influence on the quality of curriculum transaction in classrooms and thereby pub learning and larger social transformation. The aspects that needs greater emphasis are the length of academic preparation, the level and quality of subject matter knowledge, the repertoire of pedagogical skills that teachers possesses to meet the needs of the learning situations, the degree of commitment to the profession, sensitivity to contemporary issues and problems, and the level of motivation. This is not possible if teacher preparation focused only on training. Holistic teacher building is necessary and therefore teacher education needed more emphasis than mere training. Educating all children well depends not only on ensuring that teachers have the necessary knowledge and skills to carry out their work, but also that they take responsibility for seeing that our children reach high levels of learning and that they act accordingly. People come to teacher education with beliefs, values, commitments, personalities, and moral codes from their upbringing and schooling, which affect who they are as teachers and what they are able to learn in teacher education. And in teaching, helping teacher candidates examine critically their beliefs and values as they relate to teaching, learning, and subject matter, and form a vision of good teaching. 2. To guide and inspire the learning and their work is a central task for teacher education. Fourth point, the National Academy of Education Committee report wrote that on a daily basis teachers confront complex decisions that rely on many different kinds of knowledge and judgment, and that can involve high stakes outcomes for students' future. To make good decisions, teachers must be aware of the many ways in which students' learning can unfold in the context of development, learning, differences, language and cultural influences, and individual temperaments, interests, and approaches to learning, addition to foundational knowledge about the areas of learning and performance listed in the above quotation. Teachers need to know how to take the steps necessary to gather additional information that will allow them to make more grounded judgments about what is going on and what strategies may be helpful. More importantly, teachers need to keep what is the best for the student at the center of their decision making. Teacher education is any other educational intervention can only work on those professional commitments or dispositions that are susceptible to modification. While we can't remake someone's personality, we can reshape attitudes towards the other and develop a professional rather than a personal role orientation towards teaching as a practice. Ministry of Education document Challenge of Education Policy Perspective in 1985 has mentioned teachers' performance is the most crucial input in the field of education. Whatever policies may be laid down in the ultimate analysis, these have to be implemented by teachers in much through their personal example as through teaching learning processes. India has reached the threshold of the development of new technologies which are likely to revolutionize the classroom teaching unless capable and committed are teachers in service. The education system cannot become a suitable and potential instrument of national development. The teacher is required to acquire adequate knowledge, skills, interests, and attitudes towards the teaching profession. The teacher's work has become more complicated and technical in view of the new theories of psychology, philosophy, sociology, modern media, and materials. The teacher can be made proficient with well-planned, imaginative, pre-service and in-service training programs. Next is teacher education at different levels of education. This is our next point. Teacher education reaches teachers at all levels of education, namely pre-primary, primary, elementary, secondary, higher secondary, and the tertiary. The needs and requirements of students and education vary at each level. Hence, level and stage specific teacher preparation is essential. Teacher education also helps in the development of teaching skills in teachers of professional institutions. The teachers in professional institutions have only the theoretical and practical knowledge of their respective subjects. They require specialized teacher training inputs to deal with the students entering their professions. Teacher education also reaches special education and physical education. Thus, where there are teachers, there would be teacher education. The knowledge base is adequately specialized and diversified across stages in order to develop effective processes of preparing and trained teachers for the functions which a teacher is expected to perform at each stage. First is the pre-primary education. Pre-primary teacher training courses are of various types: Montessori, kindergarten, nursery, pre-basic, etc. Minimum qualification for admission to this course is higher secondary and the duration of the course is 1 year. Many institutes impart training for 2 years. This training is a certificate of diploma course conducted normally by state government. A couple of years back, Punjab and Haryana conducted 1-year course titled as Certificate Course in Pre-Primary and Nursery Education to produce teachers for primary schools. Later on, it was discontinued in 1987. Haryana government evolved a 2-year course leading to diploma in preschool education. A number of institutions are being recognized by the government to run this 2-year course. This course has been designed in the context of NPE 1986. Next is the elementary training for school teachers. Elementary training, that is ET, schools were providing pre-service training, secondary training, or ST. Schools are meant for imparting pre-service training to prospective or in-service teachers of primary or middle schools. The basic qualifications required for admission into the course is HSC examination passed, higher secondary, and duration is of 2 years. Like I think so 2 years back, 4 years back. 4 years back here also the government has done the program for, it was named as DLED, Diploma in Elementary Education. अभी भी DLED होती है बहुत सारे कॉलेजेस में, इवन आप जो कॉलेज से B.ed कर रहे होंगे उसमें भी DLED होती है, बट दैट DLED इज अनदर वन. वो DLED है कि आप वहाँ पे आप कॉलेज में कोर्स करके और आप जा रहे हो कहीं पे पढ़ाने के लिए. 4 years back, 5 years back, 2017 में गवर्नमेंट हैज डन अ प्रोग्राम जिसे DLED नाम दिया गया था. तभी से ही DLED एक्चुअली में स्टार्ट हुआ है. ठीक है, तो गवर्नमेंट ने वो प्रोग्राम रन करवाया था एंड इट वाज नेम्ड एज DLED, डिप्लोमा इन एलिमेंट्री एजुकेशन, एंड दैट वाज ओनली फॉर द टीचर्स हु आर इन सर्विस. बहुत बार ऐसे भी होता है ना, कुछ प्राइमरी टीचर्स इन सर्विस में रहती हैं, वो आ जाती है आफ्टर ग्रेजुएशन और आफ्टर मास्टर्स वो आ जाती है, बट दे हैवंट हैव द स्पेसिफाइड कोर्स का सर्टिफिकेट नहीं होता है उनके पास में. ठीक है, तो उस चीज के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने ही करवाया था फॉर द इन सर्विस अनट्रेन्ड टीचर्स, जो सर्विस में है बट दे आर अनट्रेन्ड. उनके सर्टिफिकेट में भी इवन आई थिंक सो वो लिखा हुआ है दैट इन सर्विस अनट्रेन्ड टीचर्स DLED डन. ठीक है, वो गवर्नमेंट ने करवाया था, तो उसके लिए ज्यादा अमाउंट भी नहीं लगा था, काफी कम अमाउंट में. एंड इवन टीचर्स वर डूइंग देयर क्लासेस, वो अपने क्लासेस, अपने DLED के क्लासेस सैटरडे संडे उनको कॉलेज सेंटर दिया जाता था. सैटरडे संडे उनके कॉलेज वो जाते थे और मंडे टू फ्राइडे अपने स्कूल्स में ही वो लोग स्कूल में जैसे नॉर्मली वो टीचिंग करते हैं वैसे वो टीचिंग करते थे. सो दिस वाज द गवर्नमेंट प्रोग्राम. लास्ट आई हैव सीन इन 2017 जो हुआ था, 2017 to 19 तक का वो चला है. और उसके बाद से अब जो DLED आ गया है दैट इज नॉट फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट, मतलब है वो गवर्नमेंट अप्रूव्ड है बट गवर्नमेंट नहीं करवा रहा है. वो है DLED जैसे बच्चे B.ed करते हैं, एक कोर्स में एडमिशन लिया, कोर्स किया, इन द सेम वे DLED में एडमिशन लिया, DLED किया. हायर सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन, इट्स रिटन HSC एग्जामिनेशन, 12th एग्जामिनेशन पास होना चाहिए था, 55% और अबव समथिंग ऐसा परसेंटेज था. लास्ट आई हैव हर्ड दिस, ये मैंने सुना था. ठीक है, और काफी कम अमाउंट में, काफी लेस अमाउंट में DLED के सर्टिफिकेट गए थे टीचर्स लोगों के पास में. एंड इवन ऑल द स्कूल्स, और वो जो DLED के सर्टिफिकेट थे ना दैट वाज फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट एज इट वॉज रिटन देयर की इन सर्विस अनट्रेन्ड टीचर्स. इवन वो DLED लेकर के वो गवर्नमेंट जॉब्स के लिए भी अप्लाई करने के लिए वो केपेबल थे, जो भी किए होंगे वो केपेबल है. ठीक है, यही है हमारे DLED वाला जो आपका यहाँ पे दिया गया, एलिमेंट्री ट्रेनिंग फॉर स्कूल टीचर्स. तो कभी ना कभी कहीं ना कहीं हर जगह पे स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ना कुछ वो निकालते रहते हैं और जो सारे जगह पे वो चलता है. ठीक है, नाउ कम्स टू द सेकेंडरी टीचर एजुकेशन. Training colleges prepare graduate teachers for secondary or higher secondary classes. It is normally 1-year course with an emphasis on the principle and methodology of teacher leading to B.ed degree. The minimum qualification for entrance is the graduation. ये आपका लास्ट का था, अब B.ed नहीं है आपका 1-year degree. Here it will be 2-year degree. Just a minute. It's a 2 years degree course. और अभी जो हमारा 5+3+3+4 ये जब आएगा 2020 एजुकेशन पॉलिसी, उसके बाद से इवन आप काफी साल से सुन रहे होंगे कि B.ed जो होगा वो 4 साल तक का हो जाएगा। वो 4 साल किन लोगों के लिए होगा? जो आफ्टर +2 डायरेक्टली वो एडमिशन ले, उनका ग्रेजुएशन और B.ed दोनों ही हो जाएगा 4 ईयर्स में। ओके, सपोज जैसे मेरा केमिस्ट्री बैकग्राउंड है, तो सपोज करो कि मैंने BSc में एडमिशन लिया, तो मैं वो BSc B.ed में एडमिशन लूंगी, तो वहां पे मेरा 4 ईयर्स में मेरा ग्रेजुएशन और B.ed दोनों ही मेरा कंप्लीट हो जाएगा। यहाँ भी क्या होता है, आप ग्रेजुएशन कंप्लीट कीजिए, उसके सर्टिफिकेट दिखाइए, तब जाके आपका B.ed में एडमिशन होगा, इजंट इट? वो नहीं रहेगा। अभी तक में आई डोंट रिमेम्बर द नेम, इज इट भुवनेश्वर और बैंगलोर? भुवनेश्वर आई थिंक सो, और बैंगलोर, नो सॉरी, इट्स बैंगलोर में ही एक ऐसा कॉलेज है जो ग्रेजुएशन और B.ed एक साथ करवाता है, BSc + B.ed, वैसा कुछ है। और ये ही पॉलिसी जो है अभी वो सारे जगह पे आने वाला है, जिसे हम 4 इयर्स, वो सिर्फ उन लोगों के लिए होगा जो इंटर करके और वो B.ed करना चाहते हैं, तो वो ग्रेजुएशन और B.ed एक साथ कर सकते हैं। और बाकी लोग जिस तरह से नॉर्मली ग्रेजुएशन करते हैं, फिर B.ed करते हैं, मास्टर्स करते हैं, सेम वे दे कैन। ओके, नेक्स्ट इज द हायर एजुकेशन सेकेंडरी. Higher education course in education are of 4 types. 1-year M.ed course. This course is open to those who have passed B.ed examination creditably. Candidates having master's degree in arts or science with M.ed qualification are considered eligible for the appointment of lecturers in training schools and colleges, as well as for various administrative posts in SCRTs, NIEs and NCRT. Sorry, it's 2 years course. Okay. Next is 2 years MA in education. This course is open to graduates and is considered equivalent to M.ed in many respects. It is recognition of the fact that now education has been developed as a discipline of knowledge, economics or history. M.ed is considered to be applied side of education, while MA education is being taken as basic or pure side of the education. 2 years PhD course after M.ed or MA education. A number of universities in India have arranged for the PhD in education, in which is open to those who have passed M.ed or MA education in 2nd division. The MS University Baroda pioneered maximum number of PhD in education through the Centers of Advanced Studies in Education besides this 2 years PhD course. 1-year research course leading to MPhil have been provided in the general colleges or universities. Postgraduate diploma in some aspects of education after its education. It's diploma course based on the postgraduate level and hence done after the post-graduation. Next is the professional ethics. Every professional has its own professional ethics. The professional ethics signifies the code of conduct to be adopted by the person who professes that profession. The professional ethics emerges in the form of a broad principles which are to be allowed for rendering service to the people for their welfare. These principles are based upon the socio-cultural and philosophical foundation of the society. They are the result of the best human values which have been proved to be beneficial to the mankind by deep reflection and centuries of practiced living. The roots of the professional ethics for the teacher can be found in the ancient Indian literature such as Upanishads, Gita, etc. These texts have expectations of the society from the teachers. For example, the teacher should idealist in thinking, possesses professional morality and conscience and has high standard behavior. The teacher must transmit all his learning to the pupil, etc. Describing the role of the teacher, Bhagavad Gita says, a true teacher helps a pupil to discover his own, it's pupil, okay? Pupil. To discover his own personal philosophy for the invisible sun within him. Unfortunately, in modern times, the teaching profession has degenerated from its high ideals and ethical values to the level of merely a service-oriented vocation. Thus, there is much need of educating the teacher in teacher's professional ethics. There is nothing wrong in this demand for decent living, but in his conduct and manners, he should be as ideal to be followed by others. There is no doubt that the teacher should discharge his obligations and duties intelligently, diligently, honestly, sincerely, and uncomplainingly. This is a demand and expectations of the society from this profession. But at the same time, the community should also look at his needs, his emoluments, his status and prestige in commensurate to his function and role. In our Indian Constitution, preamble clearly express about education, teachers and their rights. Next is the meaning. It is if one is attempting to live a just and theoretic and therefore ethical life, then it follows that their actions should be virtuous in their vocation as well as their personal life. This is the beginning of professional ethics. Professional ethics were established and are constantly being developed as a guiding set of principles that help dictate what constitutes good behavior of person in authority. Professional ethics, in short, are the means of which we judge authority validity. Next is the definition. Feeney and Kippens in 1985 defined professional ethics as a shared process of critical reflection upon our obligations as professionals. Ethical codes communicate a profession's distinctive responsibilities and relationships both among the practitioners and better practitioners and society. Next comes to the principles. Not using authority to influence personal life or for monetary gain. Not using authority with malicious intent. Acting within the scope of possession authority only. Not influencing or advocating unethical conduct in others. Acting in good faith to fulfill the duty of the possession or of authority. Need of professional ethics. To aware the teachers to do their duties, to change the conduct and behavior of teachers, to act as a role model for students, to create, sustain and maintain a reciprocal relationship, to enable every teacher for becoming a real one, to bring improvement in professional environment. Next is the importance of professional ethics. It brings about deeper understanding about its variety of role perceptions. It develops positive attitudes towards work. It develops in him the sense of duty, commitment and accountability towards his work. It makes an effort to define the duties and obligations of the teacher of leading an ideal life. It makes explicit the teacher's role of define high rights and duties and what is involved in his virtuous conduct and what is wise for him or unbecoming of his conduct. It helps to bring about the qualitative improvement in the field of education, and it helps to change the social, moral and ethical atmosphere in the educational institutions and in the society at large. Dimensions of professional ethics. Teachers and their responsibilities. First, teachers should adhere to a responsible pattern of conduct and demeanor expected of them by the community, manage their private affairs in a manner consistent with the dignity of the profession, seek to make professional growth continuous through study and research, express free and frank opinion by participation at professional meetings, seminars, conferences, etc. towards the contribution of knowledge, maintain active membership of professional organizations and strive to improve education and profession through them, perform their duties in the form of teaching, tutorial, practical and seminar work consistently and with dedication, cooperate and assist in carrying out functions relating to the educational responsibilities of the college and the university, such as assisting in appraising application for admission, advising and counseling students, as well as assisting in the conduct of university and college examination, including supervision, invigilation and evaluation. ये पूरा कर लेना. यहाँ आ गया, लेशन इधर आ गया. Invigilation and evaluation. Participate in extension, co-curricular and extracurricular activities including community service. Next is teachers and the students. Teacher should respect the right and dignity of the students in expressing his or her opinion, deal justify and impartially with students regardless of their religion, caste, political, economic, social and characteristics, recognize the difference in aptitude and capabilities among students and strive to meet their individual needs, Encourage students to improve their attainments, develop their personalities, and at the same time contribute to community welfare. Inculcate among students a scientific outlook and respect for physical labor and ideals of the democracy, patriotism, and peace. Be affectionate to the students and not behave in a vindictive manner towards and of them for any reason. Pay attention to only the attainment of the students in the assessment of merit. Make them available to the students when beyond their class hours and help and guide students without any remuneration or rewards. Aid students to develop an understanding of our national heritage and national goals. Refrain from inciting students against other students, colleagues, and administration. Now comes to the teacher and colleges. Teacher and colleges. Teachers should treat other members of the profession in the same manner as they themselves wish to be treated. Speak respectfully of other teachers and render assistance for professional betterment. Refrain from lodging unsubstantiated allegations against colleagues and to higher authorities. Refrain from allowing considerations of caste, creed, religion, race, or sex in their personal endeavor. Next is the teachers and authorities. Teachers should discharge their professional responsibilities according to the existing rules and adhere to procedures and methods consistent with their profession in initiating steps through their own institutional bodies and or professional organizations for change of any such rule detrimental to the professional interest. Retain from undertaking any other employment and commitment including private tuitions and coaching classes which are likely to interfere with their professional responsibilities. Cooperate in the formulation of policies of the institutions by accepting various offices and discharge responsibilities which such offices may demand. Cooperate through their organizations in the formation of policies of the other institutions and accept offices. Cooperate with the authorities for the betterment of the institutions, keeping in the view in the interest and in conformity with dignity of the profession should adhere to the conditions of contract. Give and expect due notice before a change of position is made. Refrain from availing themselves to leave except on unavoidable grounds and as far as practicable with prior intimations, keeping in view their particular responsibilities for completion of academic schedule. Next is teachers and non-teaching staff. Teachers should treat the non-teaching staff as colleagues and equal partner in a cooperative undertaking with every educational institutions. Teachers should help in the function of joint staff council covering both teachers and the non-teaching staff. Next is teacher and guardians. Teachers should try to see through teachers' bodies and organizations that institutions maintain contact with the guardians of their students. Send reports of their performance to the guardians whenever necessary and meet the guardians in meeting unconvened for the purpose for mutual exchange of ideas and for the benefit of the institutions. Next is the teachers and society. Teachers should recognize that education is a public service and strive to keep the public informed to the educational programs which are being provided. Work to improve education in the community and strengthen the community's moral and intellectual life. Be aware of social problems and take part in such activities as would be conducive to the progress of society and hence the country as a whole. Perform the duties of citizenship, participate in community activities, and shoulder responsibilities of public offices. Refrain from taking part in or subscribing to or assisting in any way activities which tend to promote feeling or hatred or enmity among different communities, religions, or linguistic groups, but actively work for national integration. Next comes to the teacher's accountability. Meanings. Accountability is a concept of ethics and governance with several meanings. It is often used synonymously with such aspects as responsibility, answerability, blameworthiness, liability. As a result, the concept of accountability of teachers has completely disappeared into cold bag, not leaving behind even a faint clue. Accountability of a teacher. Goodbidle and Murphy define accountability as follows, making them responsible for people in accountability, and it is not unilateral concept. In the educational system, the principal, teachers, and non-teaching staff and the community is accountable for the products of education. Committee and Commission's recommendations regarding teachers' performance evaluation and ensuring their accountability. ये सारे committees और commissions बने थे. 1986 SR Sen Committee, 1986 National Policy of Education, December 1988 the UGCCAS, Rastogi Committee 1977 and 2008 UGC's latest peer review committee. ये जो है वो हमारा UGC है. Next comes to the characteristics of professionally accountable teacher. Dedicated and have patience, positive attitude, optimistic in his outlook, guide in a right way and update his knowledge time to time, start any work with appropriate knowledge, work to remove social ills, violence, communication, work to remove class, caste and gender differences and to bring equality, make the students to do the work, use diversity of resource and understand the problem, understand and solve problem and aware about one's role and responsibilities and possesses high degree of professionalism. Next is importance of teachers' accountability. Teachers help in maintaining the goals and the groundwork set by the schools and the administration, parents and the community. They shape the academic voter characteristics and personality, spiritual and virtuous capability of the students. When the teacher is held accountable, a student experiences greater freedom in putting forward their concerns. They do not feel burdened. The teacher works in owning their skills and also correctly plans and execute their activities. A teacher is also able to avail proper facilities and analyze the needs of the classroom. A teacher experiences greater freedom as they are held accountable for the curriculum they set. In the way, teacher can also adjust the things in favor of the students. The teaching programs become inclusive, unbiased, and non-discriminatory. A teacher is expected to assess every student based on their capabilities and not based on their culture, gender, tradition, or preferences. Quality education is ensured and public resources are put into proper usage. If a better performance out of the teacher is expected, they are funded and salaries account accordingly. The administrators, scholars, as well as the principals start to work in condition and provides their input as well. Dimensions of professionals' accountability. Accountability towards students, then accountability towards society, then accountability towards profession. After that, accountability towards lifelong learning and teaching, then accountability towards stakeholders, parents, then accountability towards humanity and values. The expected teacher's behavior in the form of accountability is as follows: must be excellent, should be caring, help the students and attain profession, enrichment and excellence, devote their whole life to teaching learning. Next is the conclusion. A professionally accountable teacher must be excellent not only in the subject to be taught but also understand the learning requirements of the students. He should be caring, affectionate, and sympathetic towards them for their harmonious development and prosperity of nation. Hence, it is essential that a teacher must be accountable towards his students, society, profession, teaching, learning process, knowledge and values. Hence, quality education is possible when a teacher has the ethics and accountability towards his profession. Okay. Next comes to the NPE, National Policy of Education, 1986 or 92. After going through the basic objective of NPE of 1986 and its modified policy 1992, the recommendations of the policy have been divided into the following chapters. First is the early childhood care and education, integrated child development service, Balvadis, pre-primary schools of the state government and municipalities, daycare centers and training institutes of teachers and the existing facilities of pre-primary education should be strengthened and should receive increased attention from the government. Beside these, the system of monitoring and evaluation should be strengthened. Chapter 2. Elementary education, non-formal education and Operation Blackboard. National Policy of Education and its modified policy emphasized on elementary education as first, universal enrollment and universal retention of children after 14 years of age, substantial improvement in the quality of education. Beside this, this policy also calls for drive for a substantial improvement of the primary schools and provisions of support service. Even some measures have been proposed for securing participation of girls and of children from the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, families, other educationally backward section minorities. In the context of operational blackboard, the policy emphasized the following facilities that should be kept for implementing the operational blackboard: 2 reasonably large rooms that are usable in all weather, and necessary toys and games material, blackboard, maps, charts, and other learning materials. Modern technologies tools such as solar packs for provision of power in non-formal education centers, audiovisual aids, radio cassette players should be used to improve the learning environment of non-formal education centers as well as to enhance the quality of non-formal education. Chapter 3, Secondary Education and Navodaya Vidyalayas. Regarding secondary education, the National Policy of Education of 1986 implied extension of the school system in the unserved areas, consolidating the existing facilities and providing special arrangements for the gifted children and higher achievers. The arrangements should require program to ensure access to secondary education being widened to cover unserved areas, program of consolidation in other areas, program of setting up Navodaya Vidyalayas. Besides this, as a short-term measure, the state government should be persuaded to open secondary schools in unserved areas, taking blocks as a unit have a lower ratio than 1:2:5 duly, considering the present distance of habitation from the nearest secondary school and population in the unserved habitation. Okay. Next is the chapter 4, that is vocationalization of education. From classes 1 to 5, socially useful, productive work experience creates an integral part of the curriculum in many states. At the middle stage, the work experience program should aim at developing confidence and sufficient psychomotor skills to students through certain occupational training courses. Next is the chapter 5, that is higher education. Higher education. The National Policy of Education of 1986 and its revised policy, which is known as the Programme of Action of 1992, had laid importance of higher education, particularly on graduate, postgraduate, and research work. It suggested that autonomous colleges should be established according to UGC directives. Technical institutes like medical, engineering, agriculture, universities, etc. should be set up. Development of vocational skills was to be stressed upon. Following are the necessary strategies that should be kept up for improving the innovations in higher education: consolidation and expansion of institutions, development of autonomous colleges and departments, redesigning courses, training of teachers, strengthening research, improvement in efficiency, creation of structures for cooperation at the state and the national levels, and mobility. Besides this, the AICTE, that is All India Council of Teacher Education, has laid down norms and standards for diploma degree and the postgraduate course in the various fields. Guidelines were laid down for admission to technical institutions on merit to be followed by all concerned. The National Technical Manpower Information System has been set up by the Government of India with a view to generating strong database in order to monitor the supply and utilization of engineering and technical manpower at the national and individual state level so as to ensure a planned development of technical education. फाइनली यहाँ हमारा ये ख़त्म होता है यूनिट 5 और यूनिट 5 के साथ साथ ये पूरा सब्जेक्ट दैट इज लर्निंग एंड टीचिंग पेपर 3 ये हमारा यहाँ पे ख़त्म होता है. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट, मैंने वैसे नॉलेज एंड करिकुलम के मैं बना ही रही थी नोट्स बट फिर मुझे पता चला कि सेमेस्टर 2 के एग्जाम्स नहीं होने वाले हैं, सेमेस्टर 3 के होने वाले. तो मैं सोची कि ये सेमेस्टर 3 और 4 के बीच में ज़्यादा गैप वो लोग देने वाले हैं नहीं. ठीक है। एज बिकॉज आई हैव हर्ड कि अभी इंटर्नशिप चल रहा है। आफ्टर दिस इंटर्नशिप आपका लगभग 15 days और समथिंग का होता है। अप्रैल चल रहा है, मई और जून में भी अगर आपका थर्ड सेमेस्टर होता है, देन जुलाई अगस्त सब में आपका फोर्थ सेमेस्टर, यू वोंट बी हैविंग एनी टाइम। सो इसलिए मैंने सोचा है कि मैं पहले आपको फोर्थ सेमेस्टर की नोट्स क्लियर कर दूं, ठीक है। सो फ्रॉम द नेक्स्ट वीक मैं फोर्थ सेमेस्टर की नोट्स डालने वाली हूँ, ठीक है। जो फोर्थ सेमेस्टर के लोग हैं वो ध्यान से देख ले इस वीडियो को और ले ले यहाँ से नोट्स, ठीक है। स्पेशली कुल्हान के लिए। येस, वन मोर थिंग, मुझे कुछ लोगों के कमेंट्स आ रहे थे कि मैम मैं रांची यूनिवर्सिटी से हूँ तो मैं हरियाणा यूनिवर्सिटी से हूँ। देखिए यहाँ पे यूनिवर्सिटी की बात नहीं है, बीएड में लगभग सारी जगह पे सेम चीज़ की पढ़ाई होती है। हमें सीखना तो वही कि हमें पढ़ाना कैसे है, ठीक है। बट मेन चीज़ है ना कि आप अपना सिलेबस देखो, आपके सिलेबस में क्या क्या चीज़ दिया गया, आपके सिलेबस में क्या क्या टॉपिक्स है। ये स्पेशली ये मैंने कुल्हान के सिलेबस से बनाया, इसलिए मैं बोलती हूँ कि ये कुल्हान यूनिवर्सिटी के लिए है। बट आप सिलेबस चेक कर लो, आपके सिलेबस में मैक्सिमम चीज़ मैच करेंगे, मैक्सिमम टॉपिक्स मैच करेंगे, ये कंफर्म्ड है। बिकॉज सारे जगह के बीएड मतलब क्या, बीएड मतलब है कि आप टीचिंग करने के लिए आप कुछ सीख रहे हो, आप ट्रेनिंग कर रहे हो, टीचर के लिए आप ट्रेनिंग कर रहे हो, इजंट इट। सारे जगह पे आपको एक ही चीज़ सिखाया जाएगा। तो बस आप अपना ये देख लो कि आपके सिलेबस में क्या क्या टॉपिक्स है और फिर आप उस टॉपिक के नोट्स आप यहाँ से निकाल सकते हो, ठीक है। आप आराम से इजीली यहाँ से सारे नोट्स ले सकते हो, नो इशू। यस, वन मोर थिंग, प्लीज डोंट सेंड मी योर सिलेबस। कुछ लोगों ने ना मुझे अपना सिलेबस भी सेंड किया है कि मैम प्लीज ये हमारा सिलेबस है, आप देख करके बताइए आपके पास ये वीडियोस है या नहीं है। तो प्लीज आप खुद ही एक बार चेक कर लो। आप वहां पे मैंने टॉपिक वाइज, इसलिए मैंने ना यूनिट वाइज बनाया, मैंने ये सब्जेक्ट वाइज भी नहीं, मैंने यूनिट वाइज बनाया। हर एक सब्जेक्ट का एक एक यूनिट वाइज बनाया कि आपको वो वीडियो भी छोटा लगेगा और आप उसमें से पॉइंट्स निकाल सकते हो, टॉपिक्स निकाल सकते हो कि क्या क्या टॉपिक आपके सिलेबस में मैच कर रहा है, क्या क्या आप ले सकते हो यहाँ से, क्या क्या आप नहीं ले सकते हो, ठीक है। तो प्लीज आप देख लीजिएगा। एंड थैंक यू सो मच फॉर helping me, for supporting me, as because of your help अब मेरा YouTube ये 5000 सब्सक्राइबर्स टच करने ही वाला है कुछ ही दिनों में, it will become 5000। so thank you so much for your support and love। एंड नेक्स्ट वीक से हम सेमेस्टर 4 के नोट्स पहले कंप्लीट करेंगे। सेमेस्टर 4 कंप्लीट हो जाएगा ना, फिर सेमेस्टर 2 के तो मैंने एक ही सब्जेक्ट दिए ना, अभी और सब्जेक्ट्स बचे हुए हैं। सेमेस्टर 4 कंप्लीट होने के बाद फिर हम सेमेस्टर 2 को वापस से कंटिन्यू करेंगे, ओके। सो थैंक यू सो मच। एंड अगर ये वीडियो आपके लिए थोड़ा सा भी हेल्पफुल है तो प्लीज़ मेरे चैनल को सपोर्ट कीजिए जैसे आप अभी तक करते हुए आ रहे हैं। अगर आप मेरे चैनल पे न्यू हैं तो आप उसे सब्सक्राइब भी करो, ओके, एंड शेयर भी करो एंड लाइक भी करो, ठीक है। थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग।